Okay, this video will help you to review the context clues, and our goal is that by the end of this presentation, students will be able to understand the different ways that context clues can help them to determine what words mean. Let's get started. So remember to stop and take notes when you see the pencil. Write your own words down, not just copying from what's on screen, but put it in your own words and pause as often as you need to. Okay, so in general, context clues are anything that the sentence or the paragraph gives you that actually helps you figure out what a words mean. It's not uncommon for people to read and come across a word that you are unfamiliar with. That's okay. But there are 5 different strategies that you can use to make sure that you don't keep reading without actually figuring out what that word means. That's always the goal, is to know what every word means. So let's go over some of those 5 different strategies that you can use to understand what words mean. Pause and make sure that you write down your notes on what context clues are. So the first strategy is definition, where this means that the unfamiliar word is actually defined for you in the sentence that you're reading. You'll see this when you see things like is or are or means, refers to. Those kinds of words will let you know that it's a definition. So here's an example. Caverns are very large caves. So that signal word are lets you know that it's just telling you what a cavern is. If you didn't know already, now you know that they are very large caves. Pause and take notes on this section. Our second strategy is the use of synonyms. This means that in the sentence or a sentence close by, there will be a similar word that is given to help explain or give a clue to what the unfamiliar word is. You'll see words like also, as, like, same, or to when this strategy is useful. Here's an example. She is cautious crossing the street and also careful riding her bike. So if you weren't sure what cautious was, what that word means, the word also can give you a little clue right there that careful and cautious kind of mean the same thing. So pause and take your notes on the second strategy. All right, the third strategies are antonyms. This means that a definition of the opposite of the word is given somewhere in the sentence. These signal words may show up as but, unlike, though, however, or instead of, letting you know that it's going to give you an opposite, and that might help you out. So here the water was shallow, but it was deep enough to catch a fish. So if you know what either shallow or deep mean, then you know that the other one is the opposite, and you're good to go. Pause and take notes on the third strategy. Fourth strategy is that the sentence or somewhere around it will give you an example. This means that, or instances would be another way of saying an example. Signal words would include things like, for example, like, such as, or including. And an example of that would be that souvenirs such as t-shirts, keychains, and postcards are fun ways to remember trips. So if you didn't know what souvenirs meant, then you're given an example right there. Okay, the fifth strategy is just a general context clue. There won't be necessarily anything specific, but there's enough information given in the sentence or in the sentences around it that you can figure it out. There's no signal words, like I said, but use your background knowledge as well as the information in the passage to help you figure it out. Let's look at an example. I appreciate the way you encourage me. I won first place. So let's say you didn't know what encourage meant. Well, you know that winning first place on something would take a lot of work, and this person is thanking somebody for doing something, and because they did that thing, the person won first place. So you can think, well, what kinds of things do people do that might help somebody win first place. And that would help you figure out what the word encourage means. Pause and make sure you have your notes down for the fifth strategy. All right, so what does this look like? If somebody is you're reading along and you come across a word that you don't know, what are the steps to kind of figure out? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to remember, oh, that's right, I have ways of using context clues to help me figure out what the word means. Second, you're going to start looking for those words and phrases and signal words to help you figure out. Once you've identified, you may have to go back and reread. Sometimes you have to go back and read. Sometimes you have to read a little bit more to find those clues. Okay, then you're going to actually use those clues to figure out, all right, let's start putting together. Here's this clue, here's that clue. How do these clues help me figure it out? Once you kind of have a guess of what you think the word might mean, then try it out in the sentence. Replace the word that you're trying to figure out with what you think it means and see if it makes sense. And if it does make sense, well, then you probably got it right, so keep reading. However, if there's no clues or that just doesn't make sense or you're having real trouble, then there's nothing wrong with Googling it or quickly looking it up in a dictionary to make sure that you really do understand what it means. All right, so there's the end of our short video. Make sure that you complete the summary section, and once everything is complete, get it turned in. That's all, folks.